Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to go over all of the enchanters and ranking them in their own synergy. So this is just basically ranking the heroes themselves and not the synergy, because the synergy of enchanters is absolutely useless. Nobody has ever really built about 5 enchanters because the effect is only 40% chance to confuse the target, and on top of that, the additional damage boost increased by 100% is not really all that strong. And when you see what the confuse effect even does, you pretty much realize it's absolutely useless in the current meta. Because in the current meta, a lot of heroes can bypass the confuse, you can also cleanse it with a lot of ways. So all in all, the confuse effect itself is pretty useless, and nobody ever really builds about the enchanters apart from some for fun comps in Dimensional Arena. So today we're just going to be simply ranking the enchanters as the heroes, as solo heroes, not as the synergy heroes. First of all, we have Venus. We already know pretty much everything there is to know about her. A best hero for the ethereals that can slot and make brand new ethereal teams alone when paired with the others. So she's the one of the strongest heroes and the enchanters overall. Then we have the Marina, which brings +2 Glorians, CC immunity, Phantom Illusion immunity, splash damage, a lot of actions, and she's really strong hero that can slot in a lot of teams, especially ethereals. You can also pair Marina with Venus, and you can go wrong with that. Then we have Wu Zetian, which also can be X now, so she can also bring +2 Glorians on top of the Phantom Illusion, but she gets countered by the S Marina, so she's a bit behind her. But irrelevant of that, you likely won't see this matchup unless you're just unlucky, because World Arena and Foggy is pretty much just RNG matchups. You can't really predict it. So overall, Wu Zetian gets countered by a 12-star Marina for sure, but she's still great hero irrelevant of that matchup, and she can be slotted in a lot of teams, whether it's Valianters, whether it's Ethereals or the Glorians themselves. She will bring the protection from the Phantom Illusion hero, and she's a really fast hero, one of the fastest heroes in the game, so she will definitely steal enemy hero in the first round. Then we have Loki, the most balanced hero out of all of these. She's not amazing, she's not exceptional as game breaking as these are, but she can also fit a lot of synergies. She's also a +2 Glorian, so she will just enhance the synergy. You won't be making the synergy weaker by deploying Loki. There's a lot of RNG when playing Loki because of her kit, so you ideally want to roll the stun on her CC application, but this won't happen always, so she can always roll confuse, and the enemies will not care about that, and the taunt is even more useless. So her rolling the stun is the best thing that can happen, but because of this she's pretty RNG. But irrelevant of that, her damage is amazing, her actions and rather the ultimate she spams at the beginning of the battle are also amazing, but she also gets countered by the +2 Glorians. She also brings the team, so in a way she gets countered by herself. Then we have the Eudora, the Fallen Queen, so basically one of the best heroes in the game. She's not really best in synergy anymore, but she's still definitely usable. Whether it's PvP or PV, you will find use for her. If she's 8 stars with legendary runes, there's no way this hero is getting benched. For PvP, she does require the legendary skin, which is VIP 10, which is like $1,050, but apart from that, you can kind of make up for it with the speed accessories. If enemy doesn't have them, then your Eudora will be usable. If they do, then again you will be required to get the legendary skin for her. The other hero is Emily. She's still usable in a lot of Mystifiers, whether it's Mystifiers 1 or 2, she's still usable with them. She's a really strong hero, she enables Suki far more, and she's a solid hero overall, despite having one of the worst in synergies, which is Enchanters. So irrelevant of that, she's still a really strong hero, but she's tied to the Mystifiers. Whereas Eudora is still kind of tied to ethereals, but we have so many strong ethereals right now that it's pretty irrelevant. Then we have the next tier, which is the strong buffers. So these heroes are not mostly for the PvP, but they have kits so strong that their buffs are pretty large, especially the Ophelia and Darchan. And then we have Argdina, but for Argdina to have a strong buffs, you do need to get her exclusive runes, and then on top of that you have to reroll, or rather to purify the buffs for the exclusive hero, which is here. So you will have to purify for the buffs that she can give, which will be basically saying that the second skill will also increase the attack of the targeted allies by like 20 to 30%, which if you go by times 4, it's a really strong attack increase. So Argdina with legendary or even epic runes has really strong potential to be one of the better buffers in the game. Then we have Dairchan, a really strong buffer. Just look at this 50% attack increase to all allies, stacking up to 10 times per battle, so 500% attack increase really is no joke, and she triggers it by 2 different ways. So she either dies or applies the confuse, so either of the effects will work and they stack with each other, so you will be stacking that 500% attack increase quite easily and quite fast. So she's one of the better heroes to even use in the tombs for the Avengers, so I do personally run her, but she does require her legendary runes. If you don't know what they do, they are quite strong. I did get them for this effect. So each time Darchan takes action, she has 100% chance to apply Confuse to the enemy team for 1 round. So this definitely helps her apply the attack increase to all allies faster. And then Ophelia, everybody knows why Ophelia is broken, so there's no need to talk about her. Whether you can run these heroes in PvP, you definitely can. Maybe not Darchan, I would suggest not running her in PvP, but in PvE, especially Lost City for the Dawnbringers, she's amazing. And Argdina is potentially good in PvP, but that's up to you to test with her legendary exclusive runes. Then we have the solid in the early to mid game heroes, so Fenrir, Baisugjen, Alice, and Ariana, but this is pretty debatable. All of these heroes right here are pretty debatable. The only reason why I put them is because of the World Arena, so mostly because you can use them there, but they are not going to be as shiny as they used to be. Lachesis is kind of limited, so she has a good skill that basically says purifies the debuffs, but she's kind of limited because she's old to which kind of debuffs she can purify, and yeah, because of this she's not as used as she would be otherwise. Maybe she would be updated, then her kit would be better, like updated to what Scepter does, and she would be for sure used in the most meta teams. So all of these heroes right here quite usable in the early game for the World Arena and tournament teams, but as soon as you hit the mid game plus and late game, you will be dropping most of these heroes. Occasionally you will be using Alice for the Foggy Colosseum in the shields. You can also kind of use Ariana for the synergy of the Glorians and shields with Alice or shields with Venus, so usable hero, but definitely not for long. Helios is solid filler for the Dooms as well as the other two. You will always be able to run Dooms if you do need them. And then Fenrir you might not actually drop. Fenrir does get quite good buffs to the team, but she requires 12 stars to be able to carry on her own from what I have seen. Then we have the outdated aka useless heroes, so Mastima, Carola, despite having one of the best rune synergies or other best legendary rune effects, she's not really used anymore and hard to fit even in majority of the teams. Illyrian, everyone forgot about him after season 0, so he's definitely one of the worst, if not the worst heroes in the game. Ashlyn has quite nice legendary runes, but nobody is going to run her, and the reason why is just look at her speed. Her speed is too slow to matter for a support. She should be far faster to be able to be run with her legendary runes, and her legendary runes are quite alright, because when Ashlyn takes action, purifies 15 stacks of debuffs from all allies, and this would also depend whether these are the old coded like Lachesis or they're also new coded like Scepter, but I'm more leaning toward Lachesis theory, so she would probably just remove the debuffs that are old coded, so not like Seal and everything that is pretty much the issue right now. And then Aussie, also one of the worst heroes in the game by far. At least he has good rune effect, which is bind removal, so you can use him in the early game for the bind removal stages. And then we have the wannabe enchanter, which is the Arcdina actually. So Arcdina is one of those heroes that is coded like enchanter. So as you can see in her active skills, she will apply confuse to 2 random enemies for 1 round and dispel 2 stacks of buffs from all enemies. And if you take a look at her exclusive legendary wounds, when an ally successfully confuses an enemy, there is a 100% chance to increase the duration of confuse by 2 rounds. So she might be a pocket enchanter. She might be good with Loki with her legendary wounds, but that's out of my reach to test right now. I do think she has potential with Loki, so I do think it's pretty okayish. So she's like a wannabe enchanter that is not an enchanter. And then we have Fate Heroes, and please never use them as enchanter. It's literally the worst rune synergy in the game. Never run any of the Fates as an enchanter. That's definitely a mistake. There's always a better synergy. Even at 2 strikers, just to give your Fates a bonus attack increase of 25% is better than running them as an enchanter. So just never run your Fates as enchanters. And yeah, that's what it. Those were all of the enchanters ranked. So apart from Diane, I'm not going to run a fodder hero. But yeah, all of these enchanters, as you can see, these are the 4 good ones. And Eudora is still possibly right here, but I'm not going to put her because do not bait people basically. But yeah, Venus is definitely the winner, as well as Marina, and Wuzetian keeps her fame even after like 10 seasons almost. So actually it was 10 seasons, so she was released in season 5 basically. So yeah, thank you for watching. This was the enchanters ranked, every single enchanter as a hero basically, not as a synergy, because this rune synergy doesn't exist. But moving forward, when I rank phantoms or everything else, I will be ranking it as a rune synergy instead of an individual hero. So this was only case for enchanters and probably for strikers, because strikers don't exist either as a team, because the synergy also kind of sucks. Apart from that, I will be ranking protectors as a synergy mostly, and then heroes. Same goes for the phantoms, for the mostly synergy, then the heroes, and then monarchs definitely just the heroes and not synergy, because any 3 monarchs is basically already a synergy. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one.